I've had this thought recently because it's, 5 now plus years removed. What would have happened if the Sharks, instead of losing the Stanley Cup final to the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016, what would have happened if they won the Stanley Cup? What would have happened in those days of June following whatever their victorious game and series win was? What would have happened in the weeks after that, the months after that, the seasons after that? How would things, for better or worse, even be different here now today? Does anybody want to take that up?
I'll go first. I think we be celebrating for weeks on end.
Well,
because it was.
State the obvious.
Let's be honest here.
I would still be drunk. Yes. Okay. Got it.
Right. I mean, for long timers like a bunch of us here, to experience what we experienced at the Cow Palace, having 28 wins in the first 2 years. I mean, I know Drew Remenda always mentions, fastest to 100 losses in NHL history. To go from that to finally getting over the hump would be something special. But it was also a short, not to get into the particulars, but it was a short summer because they would have had the World Cup of Hockey to get into.
Right.
But, maybe it makes the Sharks more of a lucrative spot to come to.
Anybody else want to give me maybe over the years how things would be different? Casey, you had your hand up there.
Yeah, well, one thing I thought about, and I'll touch on over the years, but I think one interesting thing to think about is the fact that the Warriors lost the finals a week in margin from the Sharks losing. And I think, honestly, the excitement for the Sharks just would have been, obviously, Eric, you talked about this, but I think the excitement would have been so very powerful because I think, the Warriors, obviously a huge fan base, they lost it. And for, the Sharks lost it too. For me, it was devastating as a fan of both. So I think really the excitement would have been just so much more than anticipated because, another team loses. Oh, the Sharks win. And I think honestly, for years to come, I think, definitely we probably could have retained a lot of good players. And I honestly think that, hockey in the Bay Area and Northern California, as the Sharks being the only team there, I think really a lot more excitement would have been generated. That being said, though, of course, the Sharks are very much a staple in the Bay Area, but I think really it would have kind of put us on the map a little bit more.
Yeah.
Devastating loss.
And I see the Draymond Green jersey and the Iguodala jersey behind you, and I think AJ wants to jump in next. I mean, I'm almost still bitter, and I hate to say this. I mean, I love the Warriors. I truly do. I grew up watching Run TMC. It is one of my favorites along with the A's and Sharks, but I was almost a little bit bitter that the Warriors were in the finals, the NBA finals at the same time. They were in Cleveland. We were in Pittsburgh, back and forth, and it kind of sucked away some of the attention that should have went to the Sharks. Now, that we're only talking about the series. AJ, I'm talking about if the Sharks had actually won that series against Pittsburgh. What would have been different for you?
I mean, I don't know that anything would be, look at the wall behind me. Would anything have changed? Probably.
You would still love them. Yeah, you've had better pictures behind you, like you hugging Jumbo.
Might be a cup.
Right. Yeah. It would be you kissing the cup in downtown San Jose. But how about today, here in 2022? Would we still kind of be going through a rough patch potentially right now? Maybe. Right.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, if see the way that I looked at it. And this is just me probably being a bit of a wiseacre, but maybe sports talk radio would finally be forced to talk about the Sharks and acknowledge them.
Hang on a second. I got a sound effect for that. Yep. No, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I know. It's all Giants.
Too busy trying to pull some 49ers ratings off a third string wide receiver who doesn't play. Let's talk about that for an hour. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
No, I think, that is part of it. I mean, I don't know the last time I've seen a Shark Central episode. I don't know about you.
Well, they canceled me. You don't. Actually, to be honest with you, a huge limitation is just access to human beings at this point, right? And keeping everybody safe. And it's just we can't do the stuff that we used to do right now. So,
but I don't know. Do you think maybe it would have led to the idea of a new venue?
Do we need a new venue?
Well, you talk to some fans and they're kind of like, the barn, she's aged very well.
Yeah.
But we're, 30 odd years now, and it's maybe the everything has gotten a little kind of stale, or maybe we need a refresh. Well, hey, look,
you need to bulldoze the place to do what?
Well, I think part of it has, what it has to do with is that part of it, they're looking at the future roadmap and seeing what Googleville is going to bring in.
You think the casual fan is looking at that already? I know you are, and I know some advanced Sharks fans are, but you're already seeing. Well, I mean, you're already starting to see changes. They've already moved the Poorhouse Bistro to Little Italy. You are starting to see small, subtle changes around the building, and it's just going to get more so. But you're saying that if the Sharks won the Cup in 2016, there would have been something built up around it so that it could have catapulted them into. Where would you build this brand new venue? I mean, where the building is at right now is the perfect spot.
Well, yeah, no, and exactly. Remember where they were going to build the athletics? The San Jose A's?
Don't rub it in.
No, I'm not trying to rub it in. But remember, like that building was going to be built across the street.
The train station, right? Yeah, right.
There you go.
All right. Maddie, you've been watching this intently here. What do you think would have been different if the Sharks won the Stanley Cup? And maybe the answer is nothing's different. I don't know. What's your take?
A hard question. I really feel like part of me thinks that nothing would have changed, but at the same time, like, I agree there would have been a lot more attention on the Sharks. I feel like as the years have gone on, you don't see too many people talking about them. And I think that team is definitely one of the more, I don't want to say the most iconic eras, but it was definitely one of their better eras where there's a lot of attention. They have a lot of good guys. The team was really working together. So I feel like at the very least, more attention and more opportunities for them. But I don't know if I could say anything huge would have changed.
That's well stated. And I think, you know what, sometimes I guess maybe that's the obvious thing, but I don't know that we had really got into that yet. So I think that's actually pretty important. Andrew, from the global perspective, would the Sharks would have blown up in Japan, right? Obviously where you're at, they they would have been a global phenomenon. No, not really. Do you have any thoughts on that? And do you remember the whole Stanley Cup final? You were a fan back then, right?
Yeah, I think I was listening to the radio, and I think that maybe Marlowe and Thornton could have stayed at the Sharks until they retire.
Yeah, you're saying a cup win would have bought them kind of like the pass until the end, basically. Huh? Yeah. Well, that's I had not thought about that. And that's why I love asking you guys this, and I love your responses so far. Because some of these things I think I had thought about, but that one I had not thought about. So, anything else, Andrew? Or are you going to leave it on that one? That's a good one.
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
He got his one-timer, and it was a beauty. Anybody else have a thought on how things would be similar or different if they won?
I was actually going to chime in. We've talked about, like, and especially as someone who not even talking about like whether or not the Sharks would win a cup, like just as someone who loves to grow the game, let's just say. Like,
yes.
I think a lot of that I hear about is, look, championships put teams on the map, which is obviously what we talked about.
Yes.
And I definitely think that a cup win would have put the Sharks on the map. I feel like I'm hoping that, like, if that did happen, it would have slowly, gradually sunk into the roots of California hockey and just grown that a little more, especially near in Bay Area, and just, I mean, I just feel like it. I don't know that there'd be like, significant changes. As Adrian pointed out about the whole Sharks coverage, which but it.
That's the fans saying like we want more coverage. Now they got the coverage. Now they're happy. Sorry.
And by
Sorry,
the way,
Felix.
this is why not to do a shameless plug here, but this is why Teal Town USA exists too. So, but
you know what, Felix, you're allowed to plug it. Okay, it's just, and Eric is too humble to do it. AJ is just gonna, peacock himself around like, hey. So Felix,
we get the Peacock stream promo in there.
Yeah,
Brody.
if you want to watch the Olympics, the Peacock app.
yeah. But anyway, so. I mean, again, no, but in all seriousness, though, it's why, Teal Town US exists. It's why, multiple podcasts such as your own, exist, and why you love talking about the Sharks and, and not to put the Discord, promote the Discord project, on here, like heck, but it's about the community, and I feel like, a Stanley Cup win would have definitely juiced up the community a heck of a lot more. But for me, the hockey community, the Sharks community is absolutely just tremendous. And I think, the more we grow the community, just the better, for the sport. And like, I just feel like this sport is just so unique, as you mentioned, it deserves to be grown, in my opinion. But no, there might have, long story short, there might not have been huge changes, but I feel like, more people would have been perhaps exposed to it a little more, and
it definitely would
taken an interest in it.
It would not have hurt, right? Like that. It only would have boosted in one way.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have a closing thought on this? I've got another topic to get to. Is there any other thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that Andrew's thing, where I think Andrew took some of the words out of my mouth, and that I think had we won, Jumbo and Patty, maybe they stick around longer, but also maybe they would have possibly gone out on top.
Oh,
and then I think in the longer view, as far as the couple of years following a win. Yeah, maybe much doesn't change as far as the team because of contracts and things like that. Maybe we don't lose Pavs. But the thing I'm thinking about is, we win a cup and it makes us, a destination for players. One, because, people have heard so many good things about just San Jose and the way Doug Wilson, deals with people. But also, do we win the Tavares lottery?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
all
that's what I was thinking.
diving here.
No, that's what I'm thinking about the alternate universe here. And that's, you're right. I mean, some of these things are chain reactions that could have led to something else. And obviously if you won the Tavares thing, you were definitely not in line for signing Erik Karlsson the way it happened. And I don't know, what's the chain reaction of that? I'm not here to say good, bad, any different. I'm just saying that this is a totally different world of what you're suggesting. All right. That's pretty deep stuff there, Alden. And I think too, it's possible that we could have found ourselves in the same situation here in 2022 where the team's, struggling, trying to retool, trying to get themselves out of it. But I agree with kind of what you were alluding to. Probably 2017, 18, and 19 would have instantly went better because of winning a cup. Does everybody agree about that?
19 didn't go too terribly.
Well, was it a great regular season, or was it just the reason of this shirt, right? Like, did this alone make 2019 great?
Well, that's a great question you pose there.
Here's what I want to respond to. How I want to respond to that.
Yeah.
If Game 7 hadn't gone the way it did, would you be wearing that shirt? Or would that shirt be even exist?
No, of course not. But okay, so here's my response to that. This was a great moment, and that turned out to be the catapult of getting to round 2, beating the Avs like they did, getting to round 3, which unfortunately started like really well in the first game and then unraveled. But I'm saying, like, was this a great season because of this, or was this a great moment that made up for the season? I mean, I don't even remember how did 2018-19 even go? You guys have to help me out here.
Jose.
What's that?
All-Star game was in San Jose.
I remember that. Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't. Was it a President's Trophy season? Or did they win the division? No, right? I mean, so.
Yeah, but we all know what happened when they won the President's Trophy.
Yeah, that's a curse. Yeah, you actually don't want that. You're like, yep, we'll pass on that. We'll actually lose our last 5 games. We don't get it.
See, I actually have a question for you.
This is not your show.
But I can still. Okay, then I'll ask a question to somebody else.
Fire away. I want this one. Bring it. Come on, bring it.
Joe Thornton has 75 games left to tie Marlowe for the games played record. Do you think he does it? He's not going to do it this year, obviously. I mean, he gets scratched every other game.
Right.
But do you think if somebody throws him some money to play next season?
Oh, of course he'll do it. He'll play if the opportunity is there.
But do you think he's that kind of guy that he's so aware of the duality that Marlowe and him have? Do you think he would literally go up to 1768 and be like, okay, that's a career. Thanks. I'm going to go play in Switzerland.
Fatty, hey, Fatty, come back for the boys. Hey, you got to come back and play, Fatty. It's not even that he would see it as a Patty Joe thing. He would see it as Jumbo can have the chance to do it type thing, So I think he would. That's wow. That's deep though.
Right?
I guess I wasn't even on my radar, to be honest with you. So, all right. So
gives you something to talk to Curtis about tomorrow.
He pretends like he actually played with those guys. I don't think that's true. So, all right. So we're done with the alternate reality thing, right? We think that things might have been a little bit different if they won the cup. Maybe not totally different here today, but obviously we would have had some memories that we don't. We have this right now. I would rather.
Nice t-shirt.
One second. I do want to pull one thing.
Here we go.
Uh-oh.
I'm almost nervous here.
Show and tell.
You got a drum roll?
Felix jumped out of
there.
that.
Where's the drum roll sound?
Jumped out of that. Oh, whoa. Is that the jersey he was wearing?
Breaking out the cup final jersey.
That number would have definitely stayed signed.
Oh, whoa. See, there's another one, right? I mean, if you win a cup, how do you not retain Joe Pavelski after that, right? Yeah. Well, I guess, that was before the whole Pavelski payback game. But yeah, to the point, I think some people would have been locked in. Some people would have had more of the lifetime pass thing. So I think that's definitely part of it too.